Hello, everyone. Welcome to Good Film Hunting, a podcast about an average couple who are on the hunt for some good movies. In today's world, we are consuming more media than ever, perhaps more passively than ever. But we believe that by documenting and discussing the media we intake, how and what we intake will change for the better. It is important that we don't just become another consumer, but a participant, seeking to engage with the media we consume, so that we can see how our view of the world affects how we perceive it, and how it affects how we perceive the world. In this podcast, we are not only on the hunt for some good movies, but on the hunt for a good discussion. So, lean in, participate, and enjoy. Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Good Film Hunting. James Scott here as always, besides his lovely wife. My lovely wife, Savannah. How are you doing tonight, Savannah?
I'm doing pretty good.
Doing pretty good?
Pretty well.
That's good. Why are you doing pretty well? Anything stand out to you that makes you well?
Today was just a good day.
That's good.
I'm looking forward to eating ice cream when we're done with this.
A rare, well, not rare treat, but
Rare enough.
rare enough. But we're not talking about ice cream tonight. We are talking about The Matrix.
A little less exciting than ice cream.
A little less exciting than ice cream? I guess so. Ice cream's pretty good. But if you are listening for the first time, I will go ahead and give a rundown of our episode. I've got a list of facts about the movie that I'm going to tell Savannah that she may or may not know. We'll give our general thoughts on the movie. We'll share our favorite moment of the movie if we have one. We'll go through our rating system where we have 4 categories that we'll rate on a scale of 1 to 5. And then we will move on to, we'll move on to our overall rating. Then we'll move on to another movie. Not tonight, obviously, because it's very late. So, Savannah, you ready for some facts about The Matrix?
Yes. Tell me all the facts.
Tell me all the facts about The Matrix? Okay. So, The Matrix was released March 31st, 1999, as a runtime of 136 minutes, so pretty long. It was distributed by Warner Brothers and had a budget of $63 million. It had a box office, though, $467.2 million.
That's pretty good.
It's pretty good, especially for an R-rated movie.
That's like $400 million extra.
It's like 400, it's true.
It is $400 million.
It is $400 million extra.
Yeah.
It's like, that's what I just said.
Yeah,
I just said it was $400 million.
That's a lot of money.
I know. This, at the time of its release, this made it the highest grossing film for Warner Brothers and the 4th highest grossing film of 1999.
I wonder if anything has changed for Warner Brothers since then.
Oh, yeah, for sure. The Dark Knight and Barbie.
Barbie? Really?
Yeah. Barbie's the highest grossing movie for Warner Brothers.
What?
Yeah.
It's not fair.
It's not fair.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure The Dark Knight held that position for a long time.
Yeah, I'm sure Barbie only held that position, or is holding that position because of the internet hype around it.
Maybe.
And just our current political climate.
Barbenheimer.
Yes.
I was curious to know the first 3 films that went before The Matrix in 1999. It includes Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, which had a box office of $925 million. So, not quite $1 billion. I guess nothing grossed $1 billion. That's pretty good for that time. I don't know if many movies, if any, had grossed $1 billion yet. The second one was The Sixth Sense, which had $672.8 million. I believe The Sixth Sense was directed by our favorite, M. Night Shyamalan.
That's what I was going to say. That sounds kind of familiar.
I know. It was a good haul for him. And then number 3 was Toy Story 2 with $511 million. So.
Wait, was M. Night Shyamalan?
Shyamalan.
Was he directing things all the way back in the 90s?
Yeah, I think that Sixth Sense was... I think it was his debut. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure that was. Because that was like his first and arguably only quote-unquote really good movie.
Which one?
The Sixth Sense.
Oh.
Anyway, but we're not talking about that right now. This was directed by the Wachowskis, who also did the Matrix series. I think there's 4 films total. They also did V for Vendetta and Cloud Atlas. kind of similar themes in all of them, from what I understand. The film stars Keanu Reeves. This was our first Keanu Reeves movie. He's very much an action star. So he did Neo. Will Smith, Brad Pitt, Val Kilmer, and Leonardo DiCaprio all turned down the role. So they were all...
Well, Will Smith.
Will Smith.
Who else?
Brad Pitt.
Brad Pitt.
Val Kilmer.
I don't know who he is.
He was in Top Gun, Iceman.
Oh.
Top Gun Maverick.
Oh, yes.
He also did a version of Batman.
And Leonardo DiCaprio.
And Leonardo
all
DiCaprio.
turned it down?
They all turned it down. Will Smith and Val Kilmer both turned it down to work on another movie. I forget what it's called. Together. So they actually ended up getting hired for a different one. Both of them didn't want to do The Matrix because it sounded too risky in terms of visual effects.
Oh.
Leonardo DiCaprio didn't want to do it because he just worked on Titanic and wanted to do a non-special effects movie for his next movie. I'm not sure why Brad Pitt turned it down.
Is special effects just annoying for actors to do?
Some of them, I guess. I guess some of them, like Leonardo DiCaprio, don't like doing CG effects. Green screens, all that. It has Lawrence Fishburne as Morpheus. We saw him in Mission Impossible 3. Carrie Ann Moss does Trinity. Guess what movie we saw her in? We've seen her in one before.
I know we've seen... I don't...
One other actor in this movie is also in that movie.
I don't know.
Memento.
Oh! Okay, I knew she looked familiar.
Yeah,
That's
she's the lady friend. What do you call that? The femme fatale? It's like a thing in detective noir stories.
Oh, is she like kind of bad?
Yeah, but like the detective can't help fall for her kind of thing. Like there's a trope for that. I forget the exact.
That sounds right.
Yeah. It's got Hugo Weaving as Agent Smith. Hugo Weaving was in V for Vendetta. We've seen him in Lord of the Rings, obviously, as Elrond.
Oh, yes.
And it's got Joe Pantoliano. Yeah. Sorry, I looked up how to pronounce his name because I think it's Italian.
He does. If this is the guy with the mustache, he definitely is very Italian vibes.
He did Cypher, but he was also in Memento. So the film's success led to two other feature films being released in 2003, not 2023.
2003.
2003. They were actually filmed back to back. The Matrix Reloaded and The Matrix Revolutions. The fourth film, titled The Matrix Resurrections, was released in December 22nd, 2021.
Okay, I remember.
Nobody likes that movie, though.
Sad.
The film received 4 nominations at the Academy Awards for Best Visual Effects, Best Film Editing, Best Sound, and Best Sound Editing, and it won all 4 categories. So that's pretty good. The Matrix is considered to be among the greatest science fiction film of all time, and in 2012, it was selected for preservation in the United States National Film Registry by the Library of Congress for being culturally, historically, and aesthetically significant.
What other movie recently did we see that was...
Apollo 13, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think that got that one.
Okay.
So as far as visual effects go, this film introduced a visual effect known as bullet time, where the camera movement happens during normal, I guess, it's not slow-mo, it's like regular speed, but like what you're seeing on screen is slow-mo. So there's like this scene where Neo dodges the bullets and he's going slow-mo and the bullets are, but the camera's moving at a perfectly normal rate around it. And I guess it's a very, very tricky thing to do because it requires like hundreds of cameras filming slow-mo to be able to do it. I didn't look too much into it, but it's very interesting. And this, you might find this funny, but this film used a technique known as wire fu.
Wire fu?
Wire fu.
What is that?
So it's kung fu, but, you know, obviously there's wire work. Like in the movie, there are like moments when the characters are fighting and they jump and like kick and they're up in the air for just a little too long. That's obviously wire work.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, the martial arts in this movie were kind of odd.
They were fun to watch, but they definitely had a very distinct...
The movements were just a little too fluid in some parts.
Maybe a little bit. So that's all I had on The Matrix. So this is going to be a pretty spoiler-filled conversation. We'll start lighter on the spoilers to begin with. What is your history and your thoughts with The Matrix? General thoughts.
I have never really given a lot of thought to this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Never really cared about watching it.
Mm-hmm.
The only experience I have with it is that there was an Adventures in Odyssey episode that I think was based off a little bit loosely off of The Matrix.
Probably.
I think because like gave similar vibes. I don't know exactly if it is, but I was thinking about that the whole time I was watching this.
Wholesome Adventures in Odyssey versus The Matrix.
I know. Theirs was about playing too many video games and why you shouldn't do that. Yeah.
Okay.
You know how it is.
Yeah,
But yeah, other than that, I don't really have much history.
Mm-hmm.
General thoughts on the movie. I thought it was okay. I thought it was a sci-fi movie. I thought it was weird, somewhat disturbing.
Oh, for sure. Mm-hmm.
Not as bad as I was expecting, though.
Not as bad as you were expecting.
Like not as far as like the weirdness and the scariness. It was much less weird and scary than I expected.
Oh, okay.
Definitely not what I was expecting in general, though.
Oh, yeah.
So.
I mean, as far as history goes for me, who hasn't heard of The Matrix? There's a reason, it got that special recognition from the, what is it? The National Film Registry. Cause
it is pretty iconic.
It's iconic and it's very influential. Even in, obviously in political spheres, it's very influential. People love to borrow terms from it. So, yeah, I've heard about it. I've heard countless references to it throughout my life, especially from older men, because this is a guy movie, let's be honest. But I knew it was about, there was like a false reality and a real reality, but I assumed this was more of something along the lines of Tron, where there was like a video game that you like go into kind of thing, but you're like still at risk. So I was definitely taken aback with like how drastic everything was. Like I was not expecting The Matrix to be the world that it was, and then like the alternate reality being something. So that was a fun twist. Like it definitely threw me for it threw a curveball at me. Like I just wasn't expecting that. So that was kind of fun. My general thoughts on it are I enjoyed it. I can't say that this isn't one that I would say I loved. I wouldn't say that I even like would put it up there with like one of the better movies I've seen. It was really interesting. You can see why it's so iconic. It was a lot of fun to watch, but I think especially having just come off like Dune Part 2, another sci-fi movie, which arguably has a lot more things going for it. I just felt like this one it definitely shows its age quite a bit, unfortunately. But I still enjoyed it. And I am glad that I've been able to experience what's a culturally significant part of our lives. So, did you have a favorite moment of the film?
Favorite moment of the film. This is one of those films where it's hard to have a favorite moment because it was pretty much all like edgy and like action.
Was it?
There wasn't really much humor. From what I recall. And for me, favorite moment equals humor usually, or like something else.
There wasn't a moment that wowed you or went, oh, that's nifty, or a character moment, relationship moment.
The only part that's really like keeps coming back in my head, and it doesn't mean it's my favorite, it's probably one of my least favorites, was the part where he's in the slime bowl and then he gets out of the slime bowl and he's slimy.
When he wakes up.
Yeah, that whole scene is just going through my mind. I'm like, eh.
That was not a scene I was expecting to see at all.
Gross.
It's like, whoa, what is this?
I know. I don't think I have a favorite part of the movie.
Sad. I loved the Neo and Morpheus fight scene, the first fight scene they had. I don't know. I thought that was very fun. Where Morpheus is, trying to get Neo to unleash his full potential, and they're just going back and forth with their corny kung fu, and they, the directors, the directors know it, and they just have fun with it. That was a fun scene. It was well choreographed. It was pretty lighthearted and compared to everything else that was happening in the movie.
Yeah, I guess so.
You guess so? I guess so.
I guess so.
So one of our takes on this is not going to be not as high as the other. All right, so let's go into our rating system where we have we have 4 categories that we'll rate on a scale of 1 to 5, including entertainment, the overall production quality, the overall writing, and the overall content. Savannah, on a scale of 1 to 5, what would you give this for entertainment? You're giving me a face. I'm curious to know what this means.
No, I'm trying to go between 2 and a 3.
2 and a 3? Wow.
Yeah, because I know. Well, it's hard because it was keeping my attention to an extent, but I could have easily fallen asleep.
Okay.
It just didn't. I'm comparing this in my head a lot to Inception.
Probably heavily inspired by The Matrix.
Yeah, it's giving Inception, and it's just so much less interesting than Inception. And I think it was just a little too complicated for my small brain to wrap it around.
Well, I think that's why Brad Pitt turned the role down. Now that I think about it, he just couldn't quite understand the concept.
Yeah, I think it's just. Inception, you're kind of what's going on? But, I feel like it's a lot more accessible to the average brain. This was kind of I could still watch it and enjoy it without really knowing what was going on. But I feel like there was something missing. Entertainment, I would say I'll be generous and give it a 3.
Okay.
Because I wanted to know what was happening next, but I could have definitely fallen asleep.
How sad.
I know. And see, I don't when we come to the end of this, I'm not going to say I hated it. I don't hate it. It just was very...
There's just nothing about it that stood out to you.
No, I would not watch it again.
Okay, gotcha.
I mean, I would if someone asked me nicely, but I wouldn't choose to.
Gotcha. I would... I balance between a 3 and a 4. I think I will give it a 4 because I definitely was curious as to what was going to happen next. I think for the most part, every scene ended in a way where I was definitely questioning, what's going to happen next? I'm curious to keep going. But I never quite reached the peak of, me sitting on the edge of my seat kind of intrigue, because unfortunately, and this is not The Matrix's fault, it just not every movie, there's been so many copycats after this, right? Because this is a very influential movie. Everyone's wanted to do an idea like this before, Inception being one you've already named. So I can't say everything it was throwing at me was such a brand new concept. I'm I've never heard of this before. It's so cool. I'm sure when it came out, people were shocked. This is so cool.
Yeah.
But it's been done before, and I think that's just the curse of being overexposed to some media. But I'd give it a 4. I think I'm comfortable with that. It didn't quite reach 5 to the point where I think this can go into writing too. Another thing holding it back is I wasn't completely invested in most of the characters.
Yeah.
I was just kind of watching them. And it was kind of like Dune Part 2 in that sense. Dune Part 2 I give a little more grace because it's just a massive movie and it was my first time seeing it and everything just kind of went over me. Whereas this one I felt like I was able to kind of push past all that because the concepts were a little more familiar to me. They just didn't necessarily give me a lot to care about for the individual characters themselves.
Yeah, I didn't really connect with any of them. Even Neo and Trinity's relationship, which typically would grab me because I like
it felt a little forced.
It did.
But that goes into writing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll give it a 4. I'm fine with that. Okay, what would you give this for overall production quality, which includes the costumes, the cinematography, the score, etc., acting?
I didn't like the greenness
Yeah.
and the colors in general. I really didn't like it. I think that did make an impression on how I enjoyed the movie.
Yeah.
It was just very dark. And it was hard for me to really enjoy, which is fine. It's a stylistic choice. It's not like their fault per se. It's just a personal preference.
It's just not one that resonated with you.
Yeah, I thought the costumes were weird. Also, like lots of black,
Lots of leather
and
black.
leather, like really shiny leather.
Some
And I feel like
jackets.
there was almost not a good contrast between the costumes and the world because it was all super dark.
Yeah.
Well, let me see. I thought the videography was good. That the acting was good. Yeah, I thought the acting was good. I thought the special effects and everything were pretty good. Like, I feel like it wasn't super obvious that a lot of it was, like, quote, fake. So I'd give it a 4.
Okay.
I think it was a decently made movie. I think.
Yeah.
What year was it? No, 1999.
1999.
I think, yeah, it definitely showed its age. Maybe more so than I would expect from a 1999 movie. It almost was more 80s vibes as far as
really?
the
Okay.
quality. Or earlier 90s. But I thought it was good. It was a 4 for me.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'd land at a 4 too. Not a 42, just a 4. I do agree. Well, going to the color palette, which is kind of the first thing that stands out, the green. Like, I remember when watching it, I was kind of having an expectation for it of there being a separate Matrix reality to the real world reality, which ended up being the case. It just looked very different from what I assumed. One of them had artificial alien monster things, while the other one looked everyday. So watching Neo living his everyday life, I assumed they weren't in the Matrix, and it was just green. Like, this is a very interesting coloring choice.
Yeah.
But after realizing green was just the color palette anytime they were in the Matrix, made a lot more sense. Because every time they came out of it, it wasn't at least that heavy green. Unfortunately, it was usually just gray. So it's not like there was a huge enough contrast to be like, oh, look at that.
Yeah.
So I wish they had done almost a little more extreme there. The green was ugly, but it's not like it was trying to be pretty. I don't think that was its goal. The costumes, like you said, were very interesting. Lots of black, tight outfits. Not particularly flattering.
Yeah.
I liked the glasses. The glasses being a regular trope for all the characters was pretty cool. I thought it was pretty neat. The agents, the AI agents, or Morpheus or Neo at the end with his glasses. That was pretty cool. I like that touch. Acting, I thought, was pretty good. I liked Hugo Weaving. It was a very interesting...
That's Morpheus? Or no?
No, Agent Smith.
Okay, what's his name?
The bad guy. Elrond?
Elrond.
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought he did a very interesting character. The way he chose to enunciate what his character was saying very clearly, and that he was very slow and deliberate in everything he said. It was just very interesting to see, and I really enjoyed his performance there. I liked Morpheus. I thought Trinity was fine. I thought Neo was pretty good for the most part.
I think Morpheus was my favorite character.
You think so?
I liked Morpheus and also whoever that guy in the control room was. What was his name? The one that had, I guess, was the other guy that died, his brother.
I don't remember his name.
Me neither. I kind of liked him too, but I think Morpheus was my favorite character.
Yeah, I liked that he was a very human character because I was expecting more of like absolutely invincible kind of character, but he very much has weaknesses like anybody else.
Yeah, I don't feel like I connected to Neo very much.
Yeah. This just didn't give you a whole lot to connect to, I felt like. Once again, going to writing. I thought the effects were fine. There were some definitely moments that were interesting. The whole gunfight with the pillars was fun visually. It was absurd.
Very unrealistic.
Very fun to watch, though. But the whole helicopter gun thing where they're shooting at the agents, but they don't hit Morpheus was really dumb. That was a really bad choice.
Yeah.
It's like, there is no way Morpheus is not in shreds.
And they literally sent a shower of machine gun fire
and
onto
glass him. Yeah, there's no way he survived that. This is kind of going to world building and writing. Well, I guess maybe I'll wait then. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. The score didn't really stand out to me super much. Yeah, it was good, but like I just think the things that hold it back is it's kind of an older movie and just nothing about it stood out as being visually striking enough, except for the cool glasses. I mean, in the green, that was visually striking, but it's just like, it's not like, we're like, ooh, it's green. It looks cool.
That's true.
What would you give this for overall writing?
I'm not good at writing because I always feel like I have
That's subjective.
Opinions. I don't know. I thought it was somewhat slow leading up to the actual plot.
Okay.
I thought it was somewhat, I don't know. It could be just because I'm kind of dumb, but like I feel like it was just hard to really grasp what was going on. I don't really know what to say. I was just like,
were you underwhelmed?
I was somewhat underwhelmed. I thought the whole concept of the Matrix, like how they were existing in the real world, but like there was like, for some reason my brain is kind of making it out to be like a curtain almost, and like behind the curtain is like the weird stuff, like the slimy bowls and the towers of people,
batteries.
Honestly, the most depressing life anyone could possibly conjure up to live, and like why in the world would you want to know about that and like live it? Which sounds dumb, and I guess I should say I would take the red pill, but I would probably not. If I could see what was past it, I would take the blue pill. But yeah, I don't know. It didn't really grab me. But again, I'm not a sci-fi person at all.
Yeah.
So I'd probably give it a 3.
Okay. I feel like I kind of teeter between 3 and 4 again. I might give it a 4. Because part of it is I don't want to take away the originality of the idea or the premise of this, because when it came out, it was a huge deal. This, nothing quite like this.
Yeah, it's not its fault that you've seen a bunch of movies.
So there's that going for it. I just think, once again, the characters are not the strongest in this. Neo as a character is fine. He's the one, supposedly. I'm not sure what exactly he's done that would lead, for example, Morpheus to believe he's the one. I guess maybe he's a really good computer hacker. But
that doesn't really come in at all.
Yeah, so...
Yeah, the whole, like, his whole life where he's, like, doing stuff and, like, making money and being shady doesn't even, like, make sense in the the grand scheme of the story, I feel like.
Yeah.
So were the bad guys his bosses?
No. When they caught him, they were just using it as a means to threaten him.
And were they pretending they were like the FBI or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
They weren't going to let in as to who they really were, of course.
But why did they want him?
Because he was the one. Or Morpheus, had his eyes on him.
Okay.
They wanted to get to him first.
Okay.
So yeah, that was an interesting concept. I felt like it was kind of, unfortunately, a little corny and not well explained, because there were so many moments and it just happened. It just worked out. He believed that he could do it, and he did it. And it's just like, okay, cool. As opposed to like a skill he developed over a long period of time.
I would say another thing about the writing was, along with the characters, that we did not bond with Neo and Trinity's relationship.
Yeah, because you kind of knew they had a thing. You knew it was going to go somewhere.
Because she was the lead woman and he was the lead guy, so of course they had to be together.
Of course.
And then the true love's kiss, which saved him. which was very cliche.
That was.
I don't know if it was really the true love's kiss that actually saved him, or if he was the one, and so he just happened to come back to life at that time.
And the kiss was just the cherry on top.
Yeah. But I felt like that was kind of weird.
Yeah.
We didn't really have any investment in that
relationship. It didn't
feel
really earned, because it's not like Neo was trying to earn her affection, or like we saw her behind the scenes kind of like liking him. So it's not like and they're finally together kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Like unlike yesterday, where it's Lily James pining after Hamish Patel.
Hamish Patel.
Yes.
Hamish Patel. I have to say that in one word. Hamish Patel.
Hamish Patel. I thought most fun character for me was definitely Hugo Weaving's Agent Smith character. Once again, Morpheus was fun because he was very much that, that wise man wizard mentor figure. But he was just fun. We didn't really need to know. Well, actually, he explained quite a bit about himself. We probably know more about his backstory, I felt, than Neo's.
Whose?
Morpheus,
yeah.
I thought Cypher was an interesting character. Because kind of like you were saying about the blue pill thing, I felt like he was sympathetic.
Yeah.
Because even when he betrayed them, you're like, oh no, he's doing these awful things. However, I can kind of understand why he'd be doing these awful things. Because, I mean, you kind of want to buy into the ignorance bliss, because out there it's terrifying and cold and grueling. So,
and gross.
I know.
And creepy.
Yeah, so like it makes sense why he would do this. So his motivations made a lot of sense, actually. Yeah. And I thought he was a sympathetic villain. He wasn't, I mean, he was bad, but like he wasn't, pure evil like the AI. What do they call the agents? I felt like the other character you said you liked, I can't remember his name. He had a brother. He ended up dying. Yeah. He came back. He was a fun character. I felt like I didn't want him to be alive because he was blasted so badly.
Oh, yeah.
And like the fact that, he's got this gaping wound, and it's like, oh man, I'm okay. I'll brush it off. It's like, okay.
That was very convenient.
I know. There was a lot of those moments, unfortunately. I thought there were a lot of moments in this I really liked. I think the ending definitely had me more on the edge of my seat, because I really cared about how things were going to play out when Cypher was betraying everybody and picked people off and they died. Like, they just died. That was dark and kind of scary. And then when they caught Morpheus, I was invested in them trying to rescue Trinity and, trying to rescue him. It's just the thing that held it back was there were so many moments of, oh, that's convenient. I'm glad they worked that out. Glad they weren't shot.
Maybe, I guess, if going back to my favorite part of the movie, maybe I like the part where Trinity and Neo go in the building to go save Morpheus, and they shoot all the pillars and stuff.
Was there anything else major I had? I will admit, as absurd as so many of the conveniences were with Neo, the scene where he gets up after Trinity kisses him and he's alive, like, you see it coming, but it's still a very like hype moment, like, oh, he's done it, he's figured it out, he's invincible. That was cool. Like, I felt what they wanted me to feel there. It was cool. I felt, there were a lot of good things going for it. There's just too many things kind of holding it back for me to be able to like, they really got it there.
Yeah, I'm also the child. This just bears mentioning, the child in the place where whatever her name was, the soothsayer.
Oh, Oracle.
Yeah, the Oracle.
Yeah.
He reminded me of a mixture of Dobby and...
What?
And then in The Dark Knight, or one of the Dark Knight movies, I guess it's Child... Is it Child Bane, or is it in The Hole, or is it Child...
It's Talia.
Talia.
Yeah.
Not Bane.
Not Bane, no. They try and make it think it's Bane.
Child Talia.
So yeah, writing, I'd give it a 4. I'm pretty comfortable with that. What would you give this for overall content?
I think... Let me think. Language, I don't remember a whole lot of bad language or offensive language.
There were no F-bombs, which was surprising, considering it's an R-rated film.
Yeah, I didn't know. I find it interesting that it was rated R. I think, like you said, if it was done now, it would be rated PG-13.
Perhaps, yeah.
Perhaps, because it does give more PG-13 vibes.
Yeah. I think it definitely pushes. It's right up on the border.
Yeah, I would say the worst thing about it, there's no sexuality at all.
That's the worst thing about it?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
No.
If only there was more sexuality.
Yes, no, sorry. The worst thing about it was the violence, and the worst violence was the gross bug in the belly button.
Speaking of which, okay, going back to writing for a second. I did not understand that concept. The fact that when they died in the Matrix, they died in real life. Like, that's fine, but one, there was that. Neo was totally fine physically after that situation. Like, he showed no pain. He showed no evidence that he was ever in, like, discomfort. So that was just really weird.
I don't even know really what was fully going on there.
It was the agents bugged him so they could spy on him. And then Trinity realized he was bugged, so she took the bug out. But it felt a little too convenient in terms of, once again, convenience about when the characters get beat up, brutally, but then, like, their forms externally were totally fine. Like, oh man, I'm on the edge of death in this world. But does that mean you're on the edge of death?
Well, when
in the
they
real
got
world or
beaten
not?
up and they were still laying in the chairs, they would have like blood and stuff.
But at the most random moments, like Morpheus was totally fine when he woke up.
True. That is probably a continuity.
That is, like, in the fact that Neo was shot multiple times, but, like, he woke up and was like, oh, I'm okay. I'm cool. Fine.
He healed.
But, like, he could die. He was in pain, but not really. And it's just, I didn't like that aspect. It was not fleshed out very well, in my opinion. Anyway, going back to content.
Yeah, back to content. I would say I'd give it a 3. It was kind of gross and disturbing, but, like, not offensive. Like, I didn't feel... The only part I felt like I had to close my eyes was the bug part. Just because it was gross.
Yeah, it was a little...
Also, whatever that part where someone's veins were, like, bulging... Remember, where, like, the veins started, like, going, like, bloop, 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 bloop.
Oh, was that the agent?
Something, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, when Neo, like, hacked him.
Maybe, something like that. It was just gross.
That was gross.
Yeah, I would say 3. Did I say 3?
Yeah.
Yeah, 3. Nothing super bad. It was just bad vibes. If I could rate it for the vibes, I'd give it a 1.
Yikes. Okay. I'd give it a 3 as well. For an R-rated movie, it's pretty light.
Yeah, definitely less, I feel like less violent than, like, The Last Samurai.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely more profanity than The Last Samurai. I do think that, once again, going back to the overall vibes, that's probably what gave this an R rating, because it was kind of, it's just edgy, and it's dark, and it's grim and bleak, and messed up.
It kind of gave me similar, like, atmospheric vibes to The Batman.
The Batman? Okay.
Yeah.
Perhaps, yeah. That one definitely was almost an R-rated movie. And I think making it 1999, like we were talking about, I think maybe that's why it did get the R rating, because it was, I feel like something like it could be made now and get past his PG-13. But I think it just being, I think the overall premise and the essence of it being a very dystopian, dark, and very messed up concept definitely is what gave it R rating. Maybe even just because at the time audiences would have watched it and been like, whoa, there's no way this is PG-13. As opposed to now, audiences are more used to that, and so they'd be able to accommodate that better. But yeah, I think 3 is fine. Not a little kids movie. Older teenager movie, I think. Probably more of a boy movie, like I said before. There are probably plenty of girls who like this. Okay, so overall rating, you've got for entertainment a 3, quality a 4, writing a 3, content a 3.
I think I gave writing a 4.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Or did I give it a 3?
Maybe you did. I don't remember.
Maybe I gave it a 3, I think.
Oh,
maybe, I don't know.
I can find out later when I think. But what would you give this for overall rating?
I gave it.
1, stay away from this movie. 5, you should see this movie. It's pretty good.
I'll give it a 3.
Okay.
I feel like I give most movies that we watch a 3.
Perhaps. I feel like most of them landed at a 4.
Yeah, I'd give it a 3.
Okay.
It wasn't bad. It wasn't great. It wasn't my favorite. I wouldn't watch it again. Did I? Yeah.
Okay.
3.
I'm going to give it a 3.7.
3.7?
Yeah.
Wow, that's edgy.
Edgy. It's close to being a 4. The only thing that holds it back is the entertainment value for me, personally. I think it was a little more entertaining. I would give it something higher. But it's just, once again, and I think it's just wrong place, wrong time kind of thing. It just wasn't the movie for me. But I'm glad I watched it, and I wouldn't necessarily be opposed to watching it again or watching it with other people. And I can definitely appreciate the conversations that people want to have around it. And I do feel like I got something watching this. Like, I feel like I have a little more insight into, 1, just the culture because they love this movie so much, and 2, just, humanity and conversations to be had around that. So I don't feel like it was wasted time. But it definitely wasn't just something that I would watch for entertainment purposes. So 3.7, I feel pretty good about that. Almost a 4. Very close. All right, so that was our take on The Matrix. Thank you all for listening. We hope you've been inspired to have some more conversation around the movies you're watching, maybe even this film. Let us know what you think about the movie itself in the comments. Let us know how we did with our ratings. And until next time, good film hunting.